I've sometimes reflected on the fact that as you become an adult, the meaning of summer changes somewhat, because when you're younger and going to school and sometimes even in college or university, you get anywhere from 2 months to 5 months worth of summer to kind of just do whatever you want. And in some households, I'm sure, if you grew up in a stricter home, you were encouraged to go and work or find something productive to do because, your parents didn't want you just lying around the house all day, which is good. I mean, in terms of personal discipline and, goal setting and all that kind of stuff, that's a good thing, to work over the summer. But, I guess for me personally, if I were to get really honest with myself, my nature is I would much prefer to have a month or two just to relax, enjoy life, do whatever I want. But, as I progressively work towards new goals and new dreams, I spend more time working than I do resting, of course. And that's really stems from the fact that I want to work out kind of my finances in the next 2 to 5 years. And if not 2 to 5, then definitely 10 years. If there's any major hindrance to really doing what I want to do or doing what I love to do, which is music, it would be finances. And I've basically been teaching guitar for the last 10 years. So I started in 2002 and it's currently 2012. And so I'm already past the 10-year mark. And I think the 10-year mark is kind of a significant time at which you can choose to evaluate whatever effort you're undertaking and figure out, is this working for me right now? And what I've been discovering is that, I've definitely gained a fair bit of income from teaching guitar. And there's definitely income to be had. It is considerably hard work. I mean, it's taxing, I would say, mostly in a creative and emotional and in a mental sense. Obviously, it's not physically taxing that much, but it has not supported the lifestyle that I've had. And so, I've had to take a serious look at that, and I'm prepared and I'm ready to streamline my life a little further so that the income that I do make isn't just disappearing into some black hole as soon as I get it, and, not keeping up with the bills and not keeping up with, all the expenses that I have in life. And clearly that's part of my lifestyle. If I had to get honest with myself, there are ways of, it's taken me a while to figure out how, but I've come to realize that there are ways of streamlining my life a little further so that I'm not, spending so much money on various expenses, on credit, on this and that. And so selling my house has been part of that, part of the endeavor to streamline my life, because I put up my house for sale in July. And so throughout August as well, I had home showings and this and that, which meant I had to be out of the house at random times. And that's tricky, I have to say. Both July and August, basically I wanted to get, as many eyes looking at the house as I could. So that meant being out of the house a lot of time or just going back out when I'd already been out. So, that has a way of breaking up your day. It's not the end of the world, that's for sure. I like to take about an hour or two of my day to go and run errands or just go out, get outside. If I'm cooped up in a room all day, especially. So it's a good idea, I think, to go out, get around people, have some conversations, chat with people, and then, you can feel a little more refreshed because you're not just sitting in front of a screen all day. So that's sort of what my August has been. It's been, ramping up work because now I'm transitioning over to some new types of work. I haven't dropped teaching completely, but at the same time, it's no longer my main source of income. It's no longer my main endeavor. I was just really ready for a change after that, having given it a solid 10 years. And that isn't to say that I did it perfectly, because I think there were basically 1 or 2 years where I took a 6-month break from teaching. or I guess probably more like a 4-month break. And it wasn't that I didn't have other activities to do during that time, or even work to do during that time. But, I know that I didn't do it perfectly. And every year I would be staring at, another job offer, or, hey, are you coming back and teaching with us next year? And I'd be going, oh gosh, another year? Really? I hate to say it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not meant for. Maybe I'm not meant for that environment where it's always one-on-one, one student after another, drive from this end of the city to the other end of the city, come home exhausted, do it all over again. I don't think that's everybody's experience. I do genuinely feel that there are those people who are prone to that, or either they're just so used to it that they don't find it's an energy drain for them. And that's awesome. And maybe those people were really meant to do that type of work. And, don't get me wrong, I actually love teaching. And I actually find that I enjoy public speaking, and I enjoy doing workshops even. So I really do enjoy the whole group setting. But there is something about, being one-on-one with students. It's a lot of your attention. You definitely have to kind of give your students your full attention as much as possible. You have to be their psychologist when they're discouraged, when they're down, when they're not sure that they're ever gonna get any better, or they don't feel like they're breaking through. You have to be there to say, you just stay the course, because you've been practicing, you've been working at this, you're gonna get better. It's just a matter of time. Man, sometimes personal issues can come into play. I think I've had students show up in tears, and I had no idea what was going on in their life. So, yeah, it's an interesting profession when you really think about everything that kind of goes along with it. It isn't just merely teaching someone an instrument. It really is so much more than that. And with it, it carries a lot of responsibility. So anyway, looking forward, I am definitely excited to make some changes in my life, and I guess working more or less during the day as the rest of the world does. I probably will still have projects and things to do in the evening. I mean, I'm certain I will. There's a lot going on right now, but I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a new step in my life, and I've already been learning quite a bit and putting a lot to use that I'd never put to use before, and learning a lot about online marketing and those types of efforts, which honestly I think could only help me in the future with whatever I do, because I feel like there's always been kind of an online component to whatever I do, and I can only guess that's because I like it. I've been making web pages since I was 13 years old, I think, 14 years old. And so I now have over 10 years of experience creating websites. And again, it's one of those things. I didn't do it perfectly, but I've picked up a lot, and I've learned a lot over time. And there's so many great tools out there nowadays. Like WordPress is just it's phenomenal. I've been using movable type for so long for so many things, and I may continue to use it for a couple of my sites, but I think a lot of them are just going to be moved over to WordPress because of the plugins and everything. There's things that could take you hours to do. Something as simple as contact forms is just found it to be so frustrating sometimes with building websites. And so it's amazing that on a platform like WordPress, all you have to do is go and find the right plugin for your needs, and away you go. You're done. That's all you need to do. So definitely that versus spending hours trying to figure out how to set this up and do it correctly. I feel, unfortunately, movable type just doesn't have that type of support. It doesn't have too many themes or little presets that you can just plug into your website and customize them as you choose, which is okay. I know CSS and HTML well enough to kind of customize my own sites too. But also plugin support is just it's kind of dismal. I really wish it had a bigger development community, and I wish it was easier to integrate those things into movable type. And I'm sure they're moving in that direction. And if anybody from movable type is listening, hey, I've used your guys' platform for many years now. It's done a lot for me, and I appreciate it. But there's a lot of things that I would also like to see happen with it. So for future reference, there's some improvements I feel that definitely could be made, and better documentation too. That was the other thing, just better explanation of how things work together.